Hi there. In this video, we'll be covering how to position yourself as an expert. Becoming an expert takes time, and maybe you'll be able to save some time on your journey to become an expert by following the tips in this video. By the end of this video, you will learn the importance of continuous learning, why keeping an open mind is important, and the value of sharing your message. And stay tuned until the end of the video for a free opportunity. Let's dive in. Becoming an expert is not just a one-time thing. It's not like you can become an expert and just let things go from there. It's a continuous process. And because of that, it requires continuous learning. You can't be an expert in everything. And being an expert's really about focusing in on the things that you want to be an expert on. There's no one, maybe besides Ben Franklin, who's been an expert on so many different areas of life. You know, Ben Franklin's interesting. You know, he basically would pick up something and say, I want to be an expert on oceanography, on electricity, on printing presses, and he would just become an expert on these things. Most of us don't have the skill set to be able to be experts on everything. And I would actually advise against it, because the moments that you're spending on this other area means you're not focusing as much on this area, on your specific core area of focus as an expert. Being an expert really is being the go-to person for this topic. And that requires you to be continuously learning. It means that you are challenging things, you are gaining insights and perspectives. You know, you have this intelligence base, and now you're continuing to build on it. You know, it's not enough just to gain a bunch of information and then to stop learning. It's not a smart strategy. You know, I think it's awesome to be able to take a specific area of focus and to be the go-to person on it. It's an awesome feeling, even if it's an obscure thing, to say, I probably know more about this than anybody in the world. You know, and it's really cool when you can get there. But it takes time. It takes time, you know, understanding the key players, understanding the things you need to know. So you need to gain some knowledge at the start of this to build a base of expertise, you know, but then you need to take it beyond where everybody else has gone with it. You need to go a little bit further. That requires you to think deeply about this, to consider it from different angles. Maybe there's a differential. Maybe there's something that stands out about your message compared to everybody else's that makes you more of an expert. But there needs to be something else. It can't just be, I'm reading the same books everybody else is, now I'm an expert. You know, there was those commercials years ago, you know, about they'd ask for like a doctor or an expert, and it's like, oh, I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night. That's not how this works. You know, being an expert is about more than that. It's about taking that knowledge to the next step. It's applying the information and reconsidering it in new ways, unlocking messages and perspectives in ways that haven't been unlocked before. That requires you to keep an open mind. You need to keep an open mind if you want to really establish yourself as an expert, because there's constantly things that are emerging that could be useful or could not be useful. And you need to keep an open mind enough to consider them, but also to be able to decide on whether or not they're important, because otherwise you're going to waste a lot of time. You know, this is about kind of building this gestalt-like view of everything and seeing it from a new perspective. And it really requires you to keep an open mind on things, because new ideas could emerge at any point, and you need to be open to them. You know, I remember when ChatGPT first became available, and as a ghostwriter, it was a little concerning, the idea that other people can use a computer program, a large language model, to write books for them. You know, this was a game changer, or was it? But it required me to try it myself, to keep an open mind, and through that process, I was able to recognize the value that ChatGPT has in helping to write books. It's not really in writing books, it's actually in outlining and ideas. So it does have usage, but not in the way that some people were using it. But I needed to be able to test it myself, to try it out myself, and to recognize that there was some value, that this wasn't completely disregarded, this wasn't completely forgettable, but that there was something here. But you need to be able to keep an open mind on these things. Positioning yourself is really all about connecting with other leaders in the space, other thought leaders. You know, in order to be the go-to person on a specific topic, other people need to think of you as the go-to person. So you need to be out there in some way. You need to be connecting with them in some way. Maybe that's over social media. Maybe that's at conferences. Maybe that's on videos and interviews. There needs to be a way for you to set yourself apart. Otherwise, you're not going to be the go-to expert on a specific topic. Other people will. When somebody's writing an article about the topic that you're interested in being an expert on, you want to be the person that people contact. You want to be the go-to. You want to be the first choice. Like when they talk to somebody else, you want them to ask, oh, have you talked to so-and-so? Have you talked to so-and-so? You want to be the person who comes to mind first. And that takes time. That takes a lot of time and a lot of work and a lot of effort and a continuous learning process. When I think about the ability to position yourself as an expert, I think about my wife, Susan. She's worked for the past 15 years in the sports cards and collectibles space. And she's now an expert on baseball cards and sports cards. She collects Derek Jeter cards mostly, but she's a longtime collector and a very established expert in the collectible space. She became an expert by doing the work, by connecting with the right people, by working hard, by learning new things. She's positioned herself as the expert by doing the hard work in the form of blog posts and articles and writing and, really kind of building a blog presence in the early 2000s with her friend Marie. And then she started writing at Beckett, a collectibles magazine. From there, she went from working at Beckett to working at Topps and actually making baseball cards, which was awesome. I actually helped her pick a couple images. It was really cool. So she worked at Topps and she was making baseball cards. And then she ended up working at an auction company where they sold the cards. And now she works at a company, CGC, that slabs the cards and protects them and grades them. So she's seen the industry from all angles. And when people do articles or have a podcast on specific topics in the hobby, sports collectibles hobby, she's a go-to person. That's taken 15 years to get there. This isn't some easy thing. I look at myself as a ghostwriter. It took a long time for me to establish myself as an expert in this space. In the early going, I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea. It took a long time for me to feel confident in my abilities as a book ghostwriter. And over time, I was able to connect with other ghostwriters, connect with people who could show me the way, and then I could then show other people the way. Learning new things, writing really hard books, and then having this established foundation of success. When I look at the fact that, 2 of my books have been bestsellers, it's great. One of my books received a star review from Publishers Weekly, which is awesome. There are these little check marks that you get along the way, but it's about this continuous process, and it's not an end goal. It's the emerging, continuing goal of expertise. Expertise is an elusive thing that you're constantly chasing, but it's such an awesome thing to pursue it. It's such an awesome thing to be thought of as the go-to person in your area, in your space, in your topic. And when I think about becoming an expert, the best way to do so is to write a book. It's just such a huge thing, an awesome undertaking to be able to finish a book, to succeed in writing a book, to publish it. When people are looking for experts in a specific area, where do they go? They go to Amazon. They go to people who have written books and they say, you're an expert because you've written a book. So that's an awesome thing. When you write a book, it helps you further anchor and position yourself as an expert and as a thought leader. You're the go-to. You've written a book. You've done the hard work. But it's not just about just churning out a book and publishing it. It's about writing a book that lasts. It's writing a book that passes the torch or lifts everybody a little bit higher. It carries the thing a little bit further. And then the next generation comes through and they carry it further from there. There's this great process of being part of the continuum. This continuum of expertise, of greatness, of achievement, of purpose. Being able to be part of that and being thought of as somebody who contributed to the space, who did something big in the space, who did something special in the space. It's a rare thing and it's an awesome thing. In order to position yourself as an expert, you need to be somebody who's in it for the long haul. You need to be somebody who is passionate about this. So you want to pick something you're really passionate about and something that you're not going to get tired with. You know, it's not enough just to say, I learned some things after a year and now I'm going to do something else. Like, this is a big commitment. This is a lifelong commitment. This is, you know, something that you're always connected to. And being an expert and positioning yourself as an expert, it's such an awesome feeling. And there's really no better way to do it than to write a book. And I work with lots of thought leaders and CEOs on their books and helping them guide their journey forward into expertise. It's great to be able to unlock their message and to bring something to the world that hasn't been brought forward before, to bring something unique and special and different that's going to make a mark, that's going to impact somebody. That's what this is really all about. It's really all about making an impact and positioning yourself for the journey and the success ahead. You know, when you write a book, there's so many things you can do with it. You know, you can give speeches and hand out copies of your book. You know, you're going to be getting better interview requests. You know, you're going to be the go-to person. And it's such an awesome responsibility, but such a powerful thing. And it's been so cool to be able to unlock that for other people. If you want to learn more about how to position yourself as an expert and how to write a book, I have the perfect course for you. It's called Good Book Blueprint. Just go to goodbookblueprint.com. You can click the link below. I recorded the course with a dear friend of mine, Nate Woodbury. We talked all about the writing process, from coming up with an idea to publishing the book on forward, you know, the benefits of writing a book, working with a ghostwriter, and all sorts of things. The course is completely free. I would love for you to check it out and to, you know, see if there's any lessons in there that can help you along your journey. Remember, good ghostwriting makes great books. I'm Dan Good. Thanks for watching.